like a lovely tune. Beware, my foolish heart, how white the ever-constant moon. Take care, my foolish heart, there's a line between love and fascination.
Can we keep each other company? Oh, maybe we can be each other's company. Oh, company. Listen each other's lonely nights, each other's paradise. Need a picture for my frame, someone to share my brain. Tell me what you wanna drink, I'll tell you what I got in mind. Oh, I don't know your name, but I feel like that's gonna change. You ain't gotta be my problem, you can call me never been on my own
Man am I, of no eccentric whim, who likes to live his life free of strife, doing whatever he thinks is best for him. Well, just an ordinary man. But let a woman in your life, and your serenity is through. She'll redecorate your home from the cellar to the dome, then go on to the enthralling fun of overhauling you. Let a woman in your life don't know what to do.
Well, I feel so good, I don't know what to do. Well, I feel so good, babe, I feel like I wanna play with you. Well, I feel so good, I feel like playing my ball. Well, I feel so good, I feel like playing my ball. If I hit you one dum,
7 little girls
hugging and a kissing with Fred. I said, why don't one of you come up and sit beside me? And this is what the 7 girls said.
All together now, 1, 2, 3. Keep your mind on your drive and keep your hands on the wheel, and keep your drooping eyes on the road ahead. We're having fun, sitting in the backseat, kissing and a hugging with Fred.
Le telefono e intanto penso a te. Come stai? E penso a te. Dove andiamo? Penso a te. Le sorrido, passo gli occhi e penso a te. Non so con chi adesso sei, non so che cosa
It's Iceland, or the Philippines, or Hastings, or this place.
One night in Bangkok, the world's star. The bars are temples, but the pills ain't free. You'll find a god in every golden star, and if you're lucky, then the gods are she. I can feel an angel snagging higher.
Working so hard like a soldier, can't afford a thing on TV. Deep in my heart I adore ya. Can't get food for the kid. Good God, we gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh, we gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then it's gone.
Was everything a man could want to do. I could never see tomorrow, and no one said a word about the sorrows. And how can you mend a broken heart? How can you toes with the the month of May. I guess you say, what can make me feel this way, my girl, my girl.
I love the Temptations, and that was My Girl, and this is Mia, and this is Mia's World. Welcome to my world. Welcome to Jade Zabrich, my engineer, singer, songwriter. Hi, Jade. And what's coming up? She's going to Texas for South by Southwest, and you're playing in it. Amazing. Jade Zabrich. Fantastic. That means she won't be here next week, but that's a good thing. And welcome to City World Radio Network on a frigid Tuesday in New York City. And I've got some phenomenal guests tonight whom I met in a typical New York City moment, or moments, I guess, at one of the really lovely spots in New York City, the Hotel Marlton down in the Greenwich Village near Washington Square. It's got a fireplace, it's cozy, it's quiet, and I met some wonderful people. Kieran and Cathy Cunningham are here. Kieran, both from Scotland. Kieran lives in Sondrio, Italy, and Cathy lives here, but they're from London Links. Did I pronounce that right? London Links. Well, we're going to be talking to Cathy and Kieran momentarily, but first we must discuss this crazy mixture of a medley. And I always mix up the medley with pieces and composers based on who was born that day, meaning today, March 5, which is also Mardi Gras today. But here's what we played, so you'll be able to hear the breakdown. We always start with my favorite theme song, Moonlight in Vermont, the Carl Sustorf ballad, beautiful Stan Getz version. Followed by, in honor of Kieran, who is a mountaineer as well as an author, we played Dave Grusin's Mountain Dance. I love Dave Grusin. He's a great film score, soundtrack person. Followed by jazz vocalist Carol Sloan, born March 5, 1937, with the Victor Young tune My Foolish Heart. And then Justin Bieber, born actually March 1st, but close, 1994, with Company. And then I intermix a couple of choices and favorites from my guests. So Kieran loves Miles Davis, so we played Blue and Green from the Kind of Blue album. Then Tina Marie, the vocalist, born March 5, 1956, with that great Wishing on a Star tune. And then we go back a few centuries to the 1600s, Francesco Gasparini, who composed, born March 5, 1668, Concerto in A minor with musicians of the Old Post Road. And then Victor Lobos, composer Hector Villa-Lobos, born 1887, March 5, with Salon Waltz, born in Rio. That was Vals Churro with Julian Bream, guitarist. And then sort of a very interesting piece, not really a ballad, but that was Rex Harrison, born March 5, 1908, the actor from My Fair Lady. He sort of sings, and he was doing the song An Ordinary Man. Love that Rex Harrison. Then J.B. Lenoir, the African-American blues guitarist and singer-songwriter, born March 5, 1929, with I Feel So Good, followed by the Paul Evans tune Seven Little Girls, born March 5, 1938. And Cathy said that your mother loved that song. She did. In Scotland.
She did, yeah, that's right.
It's great. It's great to hear things that your parents loved, and just sort of brings you back in nostalgia land. Then Lucio Battisti, Italian pop singer, born March 5, 1943, with E Penso a Te. Murray Head, the British singer, with One Night in Bangkok, born March 5, 1946. We all remember that. Eddie Grant, from Guyana, the reggae performer, with Electric Avenue, born 1948, March 5. Jacques Close, with Deeper Than Love, born also 1948. Then the English singer and actress Elaine Page, with the famous Don't Cry For Me, Argentina, 1948. Eugene Fodor, the American classical violinist, born in Denver in 1950, with the Paganini Concerto No. 1. Famous brother, speaking of siblings, Andy Gibb from the Bee Gees. Andy Gibb, born March 5, 1958. Died way too young, 1988, with How Can You Mend a Broken Heart? And Dan Stewart, the U.S. singer and songwriter, Green on Red, 1961, Time Ain't Nothing. Luca Turilli, Italian musician with Legend of Steel. Then Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin, 1971. That was, I believe it premiered in 1971. And then the first performance of Ludwig van Beethoven's Fourth Symphony in B-flat major with Leonard Bernstein conducting. 1807, March 5 was the first performance. To me, it sounded like the majesty of a mountain, the quiet flutes and then the crescendo like going up a mountain. Well, we'll hear from Kieran about that. And then and that was premiered at a private concert at the home of Joseph Franz von Lobkowitz. And Dave Brubeck, another Kieran pick with Blue Rondo a la Turk. And finally, because Cathy loves R&B, I picked My Girl from the Temptations. So that was our little musical medley tonight. A couple of other birthdays on March 5. Sun Mei Ling, known as Madame Chiang Kai-shek, born March 5, 1897. Zhou Enlai, first premier of the People's Republic of China, 1898. Rex Harrison, we mentioned. Pier Paolo Pasolini, the Italian director, born 1922. And Philippe Meyerhage, the Belgian mountain biker, born 1971. Okay, today's March 5 in history. We played some of Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin, first played in Belfast in 1971. 1841, the first continuous filibuster in the U.S. Senate began, lasting until March 11th. In 1820, the Dutch city of Leeuwarden forbade Jews to go to synagogues on Sundays. 1836, Samuel Colt manufactured the first pistol, the .34 caliber Texas model. 1907, the first radio broadcast of a musical composition. Aha! That's historical. In 1960, Elvis Presley ended his 2-year hitch in the U.S. Army. And in 2013, ironically, today, March 5, Venezuelan Vice President Nicolas Maduro assumed the presidency after the death of Hugo Chavez. And we all know what's going on in Venezuela now. Perhaps he's on his way out. March 5, today's holidays. Cinco de Marzo. It's the day, March 5, so people can train their livers for St. Patrick's Day, allegedly. It's International Pancake Day. It's Mardi Gras or Fat Tuesday. It's Multiple Personality Day, so be who you want. National Absinthe Day. It's National Cheese Doodle Day. It's National Potty Dance Day. National Sportsmanship Day. Peace Corps Day. Paxi Day, those are Polish donuts. It's Real Film Day and Unique Names Day. And now for our weekly wrap-up of the news in rhyme. Here we go to spark up the gloom of the news. 'Twas like a surprise attack. Cuomo's taking a crack. On his knees, begging Bezos to please, Amazon, will you come back? Michael Cohen, the prior, Trump attorney and liar, testified this week. Will things look bleak? Will Trump be called fraud or friar? No more carriages at Central Park where horses cannot park. They must go inside. Alas, that will hide them from tourists now in the dark. We're still talking about the saga like a romantic raga, the passionate duet, Bradley Cooper, you bet, and stunning Lady Gaga. Stormwatch? What a prediction. Turned out to be more like fiction. Cooked a pot of fusilli, no snowstorm, really? Call it weatherman friction. If you wanted to be a psychologist or even an anthropologist, think again, perhaps count to 10, and maybe become a meteorologist. No matter what they say, skies cloudy or sunny or gray, rain, sleet, or snow, temp high or low, they get paid either way. Now Apple is in the game, more film streaming, less mainframe. Guess technology's not quite as red hot as garnering Hollywood fame. Tired of winter bleak? Well, Barbie turned 60 this week. Will she and Ken start doing Zen or open a boutique? It's International Pancake Day, so enter the breakfast ballet. Jam and honey for fools, maple syrup rules. Now where is my Chardonnay? And we try to make some fun in the news in rhyme and try to keep the facts straight, but at least enjoy ourselves. Now back to the meat of the program, or if you're vegetarian, the cauliflower of the program. Kieran Cunningham and Cathy Cunningham, both from Scotland, which makes me happy because, I don't know, my father was in World War II and he was doing coding and international coding and cryptography, and he ended up in Scotland at some point, and he said it was just joyous, and he would bring chocolates to the kids, and it just always made me feel happy hearing about Scotland. The lush, the oatmeal, the people, I don't know. So here you are from Scotland. But Cathy, you're here in New York, and Kieran, you're in Italy. Yeah. So first of all, I just want to say, just to give you an idea to the listeners of what you are doing. Cathy, you're an editor and reporter for a real estate publication.
That's correct, yes.
Yes. And Kieran, you are a writer. You've done a book. You've already written a book, which is more than many of us can say.
Yeah.
And you're also a mountaineer.
And a mountaineer, yes. Yep.
Which staggers the brain. Because I just I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mine
Cathy.
too. No, mine too. It
Really?
does, yeah.
It just so happened. I was up, I was sort of not sleeping, and I just happened to tune into Free Solo, which is the documentary about the gentleman whose name I have here.
Alex Honnold.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
It's good to have a mountaineer in the house who just, I don't, is it Le Cap that he...
El Capitan, in Yosemite National Park, yeah.
That he climbed, and no net, no rope, no nothing. And
no.
it's like, when you talk a lot about this because, Kieran, you write articles and you've talked about, the mundanity of a day job versus the, not insanity, but the eureka-ness, I want to say, of mountain worlds and solitude and just being in the world and being in the moment and focusing. And it's such a huge... And I was reading some of this while I was actually at my day job, which was even more crazy because, I don't know, how do you get the courage to do something like that? I know that your father did climbing.
Yeah. To be honest, I mean, to do the things that Alex Honnold does, that's... I don't know if that's courage or insanity.
Yeah, that's
no,
very on the edge.
I can understand why he does it. But, I mean, for me personally, I started at a young age with my father, and we always used ropes, so that's a bit of a game changer compared to what Alex Honnold's up to.
And you did this in Scotland?
In Scotland, yeah, and we've climbed together around the world, but I've tried a little bit of free solo climbing in my time, but those were sort of moments I wouldn't like to return to now. I think my sister here would kill me. And
well, it's not just hard for you; it's hard for people who care about you and love you. Your relationships, your parents, your family, your sister, whomever, and. In watching Free Solo, it was evident from Alex's partner. I thought she was going to pass out. I was going to pass out. But it's really difficult. But I think there's some overriding, larger-than-life, incredibly passionate feeling that must compel you to go on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the intensity of it is something that we can't really get in our everyday lives. When we're just doing going about our mundane business. And for me, it definitely it's a form of meditation. There's absolutely no chance to be distracted when you're dangling from a cliff several hundred feet off the ground, because one wrong move and it could be game over, So,
but how did you train your mind as well as your soul? I mean, did you do anything like practice Zen or anything like that?
So I do practice meditation, but I'm not sure if the two are related. Quite so directly. I think it was sort of later that I realised the connection between the two, that the two are actually very similar and had a similar effect on me psychologically. I got into the same sort of mental state after maybe, say, half an hour of meditation as I would after a climb or during a climb, rather.
But the trite layman's vision of Zen is sort of in a monastery, safe in one spot.
Right, yeah.
You're not climbing and cringing your fingers, and you have to be in such great mental and physical shape. I cannot even imagine. I can't get through a Zumba class. So seriously, what do you just been doing it for years, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not even that. I mean, I since I've been in New York, I've been climbing every day at a place called Brooklyn Boulders in Gowanus. And
do you do that too, Cathy?
No, I certainly don't. No.
Have you ever tried?
So my dad used to take both of us climbing when we were really young, but we used to go abseiling, where you'd basically kind of push yourself off a cliff, also suspended by a rope, but that terrified me, so I certainly never got on board for this activity. It never really appealed to me so much. But whereas Kieran just kind of, leapt in head first and really enjoyed it. But
Such
it definitely
different-
was never in my path, I don't think.
Because some people feel obsessed to try certain things and to stick with
Correct,
it.
yeah.
Like the, I'm obsessed about certain things, but I don't think if the danger prevailed, I don't think I could actually do it. So I know it's dangerous, but there has to be something that says, is it the feeling of the exuberance in the midst of the actual doing of it, or is it the accomplishment? It's not the accomplishment.
It's not the accomplishment. No, I mean, I think. There's certainly that element of exuberance and joy when you're there. You're in certainly mountaineering, perhaps more than rock climbing. You're in spectacular environments all the time, and it's sublime. It's you see things that you couldn't see unless you really put in the effort to get up into these places.
That's
And
true.
It's like risk and reward. Yeah, there's always like an element of risk, but the rewards are more than worth it.
Except you could have chosen something like scuba diving or surfing, which is not quite as crazy.
I'm scared of water. I can't do that.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Whereas I'm not scared of water
And you
at
love the
all,
beach.
So I love water, yeah.
You love the beach, right?
I love
swimming with
diving
dolphins and stuff. I
You
could never.
do?
I'd be
Well,
terrified.
Not
Really?
dolphins, but whale sharks in Mexico and things like
yeah.
that. But I'm no fear of the water, but heights, forget it. I'm a completely different person from Kieran. So
Interesting. What about
Right.
your mother? Has she tried?
no, I don't think so.
No,
No, I don't think
she
so.
stays
No,
away
no,
too.
Yeah.
Wow,
She does all the worrying while we do all the other stuff.
She's very risk averse. Whereas
Oh my
we take our
God.
individual risks, but
So amazing. I just have to mention this really superb article that I just read, written by Kieran. Is it okay to mention?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Okay, so it's on mojagear.com, M-O-J-A gear.com. It's called Why I Climb, Subtlety, Meditation, and the Regrettable Elusiveness of Levitation. I love this quote that one of your students, and by the way, you teach?
So I used to be a teacher. Now I'm just I'm a writer full time.
Okay.
But
What were you teaching?
I
Not
taught-
climbing.
no. I taught English.
Okay.
Until 2 years ago.
Well, this student said there's something, he says, he or she said, I just don't get why you do it. There's something very Van Gogh about it. I mean, it's not obligatory. And I love your humor. Both of you I think there is a Scottish, at least Americans believe there's a certain Scottish sense of humor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's very wry and it's dry.
very
and,
dry.
Right?
Yep,
And
that's right.
I love this line you wrote. Kieran says, I started climbing around age 5, maybe 6. My dad was and still is an enthusiast, a fetishist, you could say. His passion for rock puts the dude who built the Taj Mahal for his missus to shame. It's very funny. And this is the more serious part about you saw it as a sort of a duty to pass on the passion as well as the a benediction. Like you mentioned the word. You have some beautiful descriptions of the feeling of the meditation and the climbing, and you compare it to music a little bit as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think when you watch fellow climbers going up the rock, you actually come to understand that for a lot of them, it's not a struggle of power and force and chest beating machismo or whatever.
Right,
It's more like a dance. Yeah, the way they move their bodies going up the rock is almost verges on poetic,
And the intricacy and the detail of, like you said, one little move, a megasecond or a mega inch or whatever the measurement is, it just changes everything. So, and it's trust if you're doing it together, but alone, you have to trust yourself.
Yeah.
I can't, I just can't imagine because my mind races there's too much going on. So do you have to empty your mind or do you have to fill it and focus? It's hard to describe, I'm sure.
Yeah, it is pretty hard to describe. I think before you set off, you don't actually have to remind yourself, okay, I need to be careful today. I think it's just when you get there and you see what you're doing with yourself, it's pretty automatic, and then that's when the sort of survival instinct kicks in. But it's like I say, there's a clarity there that just comes naturally, and it's a beautiful thing. You could be doing it for hours on end, And
I think, it sounds like almost like a nirvana that you reach when you're in the midst of this moment-to-moment incredible thing. But I would think in some ways it's a letdown to leave, to stop.
oh yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like you've got bliss and then you've got not bliss
I call
in a
it
way.
I call it the coming down doldrums.
Yeah, no, really, because it's so it must be so intense.
Yeah, when you come down, when you if you're mountaineering, after you've reached the peak and you start coming down, you start getting that feeling where, oh no, what am I doing tomorrow? It's nothing.
Wow.
It's not going to be anything that compares to
Exactly.
this. And
But on the other hand, your experiences like the swimming and the dolphins and the whale sharks or
Yes.
shark whales, I'm not sure what they are. That's kind of your exuberance and nirvana,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. Like we grew up really close to the sea in Scotland, so a block from it. So
a
the
block?
yeah. So
Oh
the
my
water is where
God.
I really kind of find my peace and empty out my mind and kind of achieve this probably the same.
I'm
bliss
with you.
that
I'm with
Kieran
you.
finds. Yeah. So I think it's
Yeah.
more kind of like a common place, to find your peace. But now any body of water that I'm near, I just kind of switch off and just relax, which is.
So, in terms of your passion, I mean, you're an editor and a writer as well.
Correct, yeah. That's
Now,
right.
do you have a big dream of something you would like to be doing? Like, in terms of, well, it could be anything, writing or not.
So I studied journalism in Scotland. It's always my dream, my goal to be a journalist here in New York. So I've achieved that part of it. And New York's really my muse. The city itself inspires me every day. I'm a news reporter, which I love. The people really make my job. That's my favorite part of my job actually is the people that I meet and the New Yorkers that I meet and how proud they are of what they're doing in the city. That really kind of inspires me on a day-to-day basis. So I've chosen a very different path from Kieran in terms of what inspires me and what kind of invigorates me every single day. But I'm very happy what I'm doing right now. I really love what I'm doing. And New York is...
That's very rare. They just had a study on New York One about how depressed and unhappy and dissatisfied New Yorkers are with their jobs. So I think they came in 46th or 7th in numbers of states. I think the first was Hawaii. But so that's remarkable.
Right.
And yes.
Every day is different, so I meet different people every day, and there's always no 2 days are the same, which I love. And people, like I said, are really what inspires me. So I'm meeting maybe, 3 or 4 people per day that are completely different stories. I hear their life stories. I hear what they're working on. I hear what they're building or what they're financing. Do
you have a website of your publication?
Yeah, my publication is commercialobserver.com. So,
okay.
Yes, so all commercial real estate news, yes.
There's a lot of that going on in New York.
There certainly is,
right? Is there a lot in, let's say, Edinburgh or?
There is, yeah. I think the real estate market, just New York's known as a kind of the mecca for real estate, right? For real estate finance, development, everything else that's going on with it. So I never planned on being in real estate journalism, kind of fell into it, but I think things happen for a reason because I'm really happy with what I'm doing right now. So
that's remarkable. And how do you feel being out of the whole mountain world? Well, except for the climbing that you're doing, the wall.
At Brooklyn Boulders, yeah.
Yes.
So
do you feel like do you missing the
Not the strange thing is I really did expect to miss my mountains, and I mean the town I live in Italy is tiny.
How did you choose that town? Sondrio?
Sondrio, yeah. It was just basically for the mountains. I wanted to be close to the mountains, just to have easy access. And then when I first booked the trip to come over here, because I'm freelance now, I thought, right, I'll go and spend some quality time with my sister, and she gladly put me up on her couch. And when I was first coming, I thought, wow, it's a long time, and it's it's obviously a very different environment, New York, compared to like an alpine village. But I've been absolutely loving it. It's every day I seem to go home with like 5 new phone numbers of my friends.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah, because I'm meeting so many people.
So many people.
Everyone's so kind and welcoming and accepting, and I'm a little bit eccentric, I think. And,
well, it's not the everyday thing that you meet, mountaineers from Scotland who live in alpine villages, so
Right.
and also somebody who's so precisely enamored of what you're doing. That's not the typical New York kind of job, obviously,
Right. Yeah. I'm not sure I understood.
Well, that you're so so happy with and so challenged and so in the moment of that choice of being with nature and solitude and climbing, and that's not a New Yorker's thing. You know,
Right.
I mean,
Right, yeah.
I mean, New Yorkers are searching for that. I think, you know, they're sort of desperate for that in a way, you know, and so you're sort of the epitome of having found it.
Right.
So I think that's
Right.
very entrancing to people, probably, right?
Exactly, and he also has fun with it. So there was a climbing competition that he entered.
Oh,
and
really?
And he wore a kilt to climb in
Oh,
it. So
That's so cool. Did you, where, here?
yes, yeah, in Brooklyn.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God. And how did you do?
So I didn't climb particularly well because climbing with a kilt is a little bit difficult because it's very heavy.
That's
and then
great, though.
you get halfway up a climb and you turn around and you've got all these people sort of like crawling under you to see to see if the stories are true or not. It's a little bit awkward.
That's funny.
But that
That's
was good.
great,
It was great
though.
fun.
Great for
fun.
visuals and pictures, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Oh
Exactly.
my God, that's phenomenal. I want to talk a little bit about, well, your book.
Yeah,
Which you
sure.
wrote.
Yeah, we can do that.
It's
yeah.
called Dave Nocturne.
Yes.
And I love, I mean, I haven't read it yet, but it's the description that I read. It says, hapless pot-smoking private investigator Dave Randolph's latest investigation takes a turn for the unthinkable with a startling discovery. He is killing people in his sleep. Now, that's very unique.
Right.
So does that mean in his latest investigation that there are other books? Or-
Well, the idea was when I started that one was to maybe make a trilogy. I haven't gone round to the other ones yet because I've been working on a few other books at the moment.
Are you?
Yes. So I haven't. Yeah. But
So these are novels.
yes.
And where do you like to write? Do you like to write at home or, well, not on a mountain, I guess?
No, a little bit tricky on the mountains.
Yeah,
but generally at home, but here when in New York, I've been for the most part I've been working in my sister's apartment with her little dog Vinny because he's pretty much my best friend.
He's going to hate it when you leave, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And also just like I enjoy just sort of hopping between the cafes, you know.
The cafes, I know.
Fantastic here, and yeah, I know it's nice. I don't know, people watching and then getting on with a bit of writing, back to people watching. It is, yeah.
That takes talent too.
Fun days. Yeah.
Yeah, you're having a blast here, right? And you lived at some point in Trieste.
And Trieste in Italy, yes.
Because that's famous for writers. James Joyce lived
James
there,
Joyce
right?
lived there, Italo Svevo, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So did you choose that for a particular reason also?
Mountains.
Mountains?
For that, I knew I wanted to live in Italy near the Alps, but also because of Joyce and Svevo.
Yeah.
It was that was a big part in influencing the decision. Yeah.
Such a romantic, pull
Oh,
to that
yeah.
town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to see Trieste.
Right.
It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful city. Yes.
Oh, God. So are you planning to go visit? Do you visit each other? Do you alternate?
So I'm
or-
planning on going, I think maybe June or July to go and see Kieran. So I'm just trying to plan out my trip right now.
Oh,
but
nice.
yeah, it's not, it's 8-hour flight from here. So
Not bad.
Not too bad at all. No, Scotland's about 7 hours, so roughly the same. But
Yeah, Scotland. Still haven't gotten there.
you need to go.
I know. And the castles, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, the people. It's true. The people are very vivacious and like that humor is
Yeah, we're
key,
known for our
right?
dry humour, but people, I think we might be biased, but I think people in Scotland generally are very
Friendly.
very friendly, very welcoming, very
Yes.
proud of their country, and nice people in general.
That's evident from you two, anyway.
Thank you.
And on the sadder note, there's a climber, Tom Ballard, who I think he lives in Scotland. I think he's from Derbyshire, but he lives in Scotland, and he's
Okay.
the one that was climbing with his Italian climbing partner.
Oh, Nanga Parbat.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
In the Himalayas. And as of my research today, I think they were still missing. They had some problems with weather and also because of the whole Pakistan-India military situation. They stopped searching for a day or two, and
Yeah.
so that's just I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's this time of year is
this
it's
particularly
it's
bad?
Quite frequent that you hear the stories of those who've gone on to try and tackle the one of the 8,000ers, like Nanga Parbat, and it's at this time of year, winter climbing on the 8,000ers is risky business.
Oh my gosh! So our prayers are out there. So what is your next, like, do you just keep looking for different mountains, or do you go back to the same ones that you love, or?
I mean, there's just so many to do, you know, and so many. With every big mountain, there's a different way to do it, you know. So, I was speaking to my climbing partners back in Italy, and they've got a few ideas, and it's just sort of
The wheels are always turning.
always turning, yeah. And even here in New York, I've met a couple of guys.
Have you?
And yeah, they're interested in coming over to do a few routes.
Fantastic.
Which is, yeah, it's nice. Yeah.
It is. It seems like a very intimate community. I mean,
Absolutely.
I
yeah.
mean, you must. It's almost like you're speaking a silent, unspoken language to me, right?
yeah.
Right. I mean, it is silent when you're not
Right.
talking while you're climbing, are you?
Generally, one thing I found fantastic here is just the encouragement you get.
Really?
Like normally when you're climbing elsewhere in the world, I haven't really noticed a great deal of. People are not quite so vociferous, and here everyone's cheering you on. It's incredible. It's like almost pushing you up the climb. So yeah.
But what about your mother? Is she nervous? What's her name?
Her name is Bella.
Hi.
Bella Cunningham.
Hi, Bella. Shout out to Bella. And what about your
Mom
dad?
and Rab.
Rob?
Rab, yeah.
So it's Robert, but the Scottish nickname for Robert is Rab.
Like a Rab?
R-A-B,
Really?
yes.
Like Robert
Yeah.
Burns?
Robbie Burns, yeah.
He would be Rab. Rab Burns.
Oh, I
Yeah.
did not know that.
Yeah.
Learned something new
Yep.
again. Wow. So is she used to it, or?
I think because my dad's been
Yeah.
quite a prolific climber all his life, that sort of like broke her in, so to speak.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah,
Wow.
she was probably hoping that neither of us turned out to be climbers, but
It's not something you can really demand of a child, I guess, to quash the spirit, you know?
Right.
yeah.
I mean, if you have it, then I guess
Yeah.
you won't be happy unless you're doing it, right?
Right,
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's like anything creative, like music or, dance or theater, but that's a little less dangerous. But still, parents are always, I'm always hearing stories about parents saying, no, you got to do something practical, right?
Right, exactly.
And now nothing practical is even sure or secure, so it doesn't, may as well do your
Right.
passion, right?
Yeah, and we're both really, I think, independent spirits. So we
Yeah.
kind of immediately took off from home as soon as we
You did?
were adults. Yeah,
Oh,
so
really?
when I was 18, I moved out of the house and kind of started pursuing my career and work before university, all this kind of thing. But I think that she's so happy for us, even though she's in her ideal world, we'd probably be at home with her, living with her. But we're so independent, and she probably is, she has times that she misses us, I'm sure. But we're so happy in what we're doing that she wouldn't want anything else for us than what we're doing right now.
Sure. Well, that's a loving parent,
Exactly. Yeah.
Is
no,
she,
she's amazing.
Has she been here?
Oh yes.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Can't get rid of her. She's here all the time.
It's wonderful to have
No,
her
it
here,
is.
right?
Yeah, it is.
Has she been to the Marlton?
Oh yes, yeah, she's been there too.
That's a mecca, that Marlton.
Yeah,
It is, yeah.
right.
It really is.
Everybody
right?
who's anybody.
Center of the universe.
Yeah.
Oh my God! And do you ever? This is a question I've always wondered about. Do you ever listen to music when you climb, or no? Is it
don't-
too distracting?
A little bit too distracting. Yeah, I've seen some guys doing it, but I always wonder how they do it. I'd be I think I'd be too tempted to get my iPod out and change the track.
I know, and then no.
I need that hand actually.
Oh, and another thing which we haven't mentioned, there's an extraordinary write-up that you wrote yourself called "The Time I Died in Ladakh," which is littleindia.com. You must read this because I don't know how you maintained your sense of self and courage to go on, because you were really pretty much at death's door there. I mean, the description, just the writing was phenomenal in your story.
Thank you.
Oh my God, I can't even go. It's called "The Time I Died in Ladakh," and that's littleindia.com by Kieran Cunningham. If you can read that, that's a sense of real passion there. The two of you are just, it's such an interesting mixture of sibling. There's no other brothers
No,
or sisters?
two of us.
Maybe your parents are relieved that it's enough,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, do you want to just stay, do you think, in the town in Italy where you are? Or?
To be honest, well, being here has definitely been a real eye opener. You know, I think because of my passions, like writing and mountaineering. All my life, I've tended to live in quite remote areas. But coming here, it's like I say, it's been an eye opener. I've met so many people and had such a good time that I think I'd maybe, in future, if I was to leave there, I'd try to move somewhere a little bit more lively. And yeah, New York would be amazing. But yeah, it's
could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, you've willed your way to many things, so this seems like, this would be easy peasy to me. Like, you've done the most extraordinary, right?
Right.
And you're so supportive to each other, it seems to me.
We are. Yeah, we really are. We're thousands of miles apart, but we've always been close, and we can remain close. And we're always, we text each other frequently and things like that. But we really are close siblings, despite the thousands of miles of difference. Distance between us on a day-to-day basis. But we are very close.
I think it's extraordinary, and I'm so happy that I met you and started a conversation with you. And
likewise.
Such a joy to have you both here, Cathy and Kieran Cunningham. And this is Mia. It's Mia's World. And it's been fun to have you in our world here at City World Radio Network. And so sorry about Luke Perry, by the way. That was part of our childhood. So sad, 52 years old. I mean, number of cards in a deck, I was thinking. Anyway, our hearts go out to his family. And we are going to go out today with a piece of music that I thought it sort of combined the two of you, because I wanted to sort of synchronize your sibling closeness. And so I know you love pop and rock and rhythm and blues, and you love mountains. So I chose Diana Ross singing Ain't No Mountain High Enough.
Perfect.
So thank you, Kieran and Cathy Cunningham.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
listening.
for having us. Thank you.
Go out and climb a mountain or go find a beach. Thank you so much for listening.
If you need me, call me. No matter where you are, no matter how far, just call my name. I'll be there in a hurry. On that you can depend and never worry. No wind, no rain, no winter's cold can stop me, baby. If you're my goal, no wind, no rain can stop me, baby. If you're my goal. I know you must follow the sun wherever it leads. But remember, if you should fall short of your desires, remember life holds for you one guarantee. You'll always have me. Ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough to keep me from you. Ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough to keep me from you. Keep me from you.
Or those times when you think you're ready, but then you aren't, and now you're late? You can unlock flexible cancellations. Introducing a rewards program made to keep modern life moving.